Well, SVG dominates another road course while the rest of the field fights for second. Let's put a cork in Sonoma, next on Racin-n-Braisin. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ, a lifelong NASCAR fan and chef, bringing you news and analysis from each race weekend, as well as a couple of tips and tricks from my kitchen to yours. Today, we are going to put a bow on Sonoma. We're going to talk about what SVG was able to accomplish today. Yes, talk about that race for second place, how the race played out, and what that has done for the playoff picture going forward. We'll put a thumbs up or thumbs down on the race, and then finally wrap things up with a quick little insight into how I handled my spring rolls today for the race. So let's dive right on into it and talk about what SVG has been able to accomplish with this dominant win at Sonoma today. What it has done is made him the fastest driver since Parnelli Jones to reach 4 race wins. That was achieved back in 1967. And what he also was able to do is tie Jeff Gordon with a record that was set back in the late 90s for getting 3 poles and wins in a row on road courses. A mouthful to say there, but he now has the opportunity to set a new record there by getting a pole and win at Watkins Glen. He was able to just absolutely control the race today. It looked like at times he was almost even playing with the people that were behind him, whether it was Chase Briscoe or even William Byron was up there for a little bit. So absolutely put on a clinic on the road show, and definitely has put himself in the conversation of being one of the best road course racers to come through NASCAR. I really do appreciate the way that Dale Jr. in the post-race conversation tried to tamper everybody's excitement about trying to call SVG the best, and said, look, we are watching greatness right now, but it's a little too early to put that kind of label on him. There's still so much more to be shown from SVG to add to that resume. I agree with Dale Jr. Tamper your excitement for right now. Yes, we are witnessing very, very special talent right now, and it's exciting to watch. I like SVG, and I'm glad that he has come over. So let's talk about the way the race for second played out throughout the day. Stage 1 and 2 had no natural cautions in them. There were a couple of incidences. In Stage 1, we saw Christopher Bell go for a spin. He was able to actually recover pretty nicely. We saw AJ Allmendinger in Stage 2 go for a spin. Unfortunately, wasn't able to really recover from that. He had a strong car. The hopes were high for him. But once he got mired back in traffic, he just was not able to advance any further than that. And we also saw towards the middle of Stage 2, Ross Chastain just straight dump Daniel Suarez in turn 11. There was a block that I guess Chastain wasn't liking. And, I, as a NASCAR fan, immediately am thinking, well, there's some bad blood there amongst the teammates that are soon to be no longer teammates. And maybe Chastain was once again rage-wrecking and seeing some red. I don't know. That's just me, being a silly fan. Who knows if there was any validity to that idea or not. But Chastain absolutely dumped Suarez in turn 11 there. And then finally in Stage 2 towards the end, there was a bit of a pit road incident with Ty Gibbs and Brad Keselowski's teams. Gibbs kind of cut things a little sharp, cut things a little close to the 6 crew as he was making his pit stop, actually clipped the tire carrier and spun his wrist around. And after the 2 teams, the 54 and the 6, left the pit box, the crews actually kind of got into a bit of a tussle there on pit road. NASCAR did review the incident and said that there was no harm, no foul, that nothing was done wrong by Ty Gibbs to warrant any sort of penalty. I guess by the letter of the law, yeah, he had the right of way, and that's what the rule book says. And it's the responsibility of the crews to stay clear of the driver as much as it is the driver to stay clear of the crew. But from a certain angle, at least from my perspective, it looked like Ty Gibbs was pointed right at that tire carrier and made a late move. NASCAR says that's not the case. I don't know. From a certain perspective, you can kind of see Ty Gibbs may have had that car pointed in the wrong direction. Who knows? NASCAR said they ruled on it, so that's done. I'm not expecting anything more to come from that later this week. Let's move on now to Stage 3. Stage 3 is where the aggression finally picked up. We saw a quick caution with some bumper cars. Unfortunately, Ryan Blaney caught the bad end of that bumper car and got high-sided off of turn 1 across a ditch. I've never seen a car get stuck there before. That's a new one for the 30-some years that they've been racing at Sonoma. So that unfortunate for Ryan Blaney for sure. He was having a great day. Ryan Blaney is not known to be a good road course racer, and he was racing in the top 5, top 10 all day until that incident with Chris Buescher. Nothing that Buescher necessarily did wrong. He just got loose on the inside of Blaney. But what made the day worse is at the end of the race, Blaney got caught up in a Kyle Larson spin off of 4 and got some more damage off of that. So bad to worse for what could have been a good day for Blaney. After that incident, it looked like we were going to go green for a while until TNT jinxed Cody Ware. TNT, in their infinite wisdom, I guess, to make up for the poor performance that they had concerning Cody Ware last week in Chicago, at least, again, my perspective on this, decided to highlight Cody Ware for a third time today. They interviewed him in pre-race, they talked about his wreck, and then they were talking about him once again, following him around the track, and he lost a lug nut and lost a wheel, brought out a caution. So, throws a wrench into the race, erases the lead that SVG was building on, and set up for a string of restarts there in the last 12 laps of the race. I think this is where the race really turned around, got exciting for everybody that was still awake. There was a bit of a pit strategy call that saw Chase Elliott bring about half the field with him for tires. That actually ended up working out for him. He restarted about 15th, and through all of the restarts and the chaos that happened there, managed to work his way up to a top 3 finish. He probably could have gotten second had it not been for running through a little bit of dirt off of turn 2 there in the final restart. He was hard charging and probably had something for Briscoe, probably didn't have anything for SVG. One final thing that I want to point out in the chaos of the final 3 restarts, and I think the entirety of the NASCAR garage is going to applaud Josh Berry for just straight dumping Carson Hocevar towards the end there. Carson Hocevar had a rough day, and they somehow played the right strategy, got 2 laps back, I believe, and were able to work their way back up through a couple of calls and fortunate cautions to be in the top 10 there in those last couple of restarts until he got dumped by Josh Berry. I think that was a little bit of vengeance from the field, that somebody had to do it, and Josh Berry had no qualms about doing it. It was definitely a dump. There was no accident about that whatsoever. So I do want to hand out a couple of good jobs here, and the first one goes to Chase Briscoe. I was doubting his ability to be able to maintain a good day. And early on in stage 1, he started to fall back, and I thought my conclusions about what his practice results looked like were going to hold true, and that he was going to fade, but he didn't. He held on to it, found some grip, and worked his way back up and ran 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th all day long. So a really good effort out of Chase Briscoe. I also want to say good job to Chase Elliott there to battle from 15th up to 3rd there, making that call, the 9 crew to take tires there at the end and be on the offense. That was a good job out of them. Kyle Busch also needs to get a kudos out of his day. He spun on his own coming out of turn 7 on lap 76. Didn't draw a caution. He lost a bunch of spots, but was able to rebound to a top 10 finish. So good job, Kyle Busch. And then finally, kudos to Brad Keselowski for an 11th place finish and just keeping his nose clean. As we know, BK is not a road course racer and struggles all the time. Today he was able to avoid the chaos and squeeze his way through and manage a top 11. So good job to Mr. Fancy Shoes himself. So what does this win for SVG do to the playoff picture? Well, there's really no shakeup here. A little bit of movement, but it doesn't really change too much. This really is a best case scenario for everybody that's in the hunt or on the bubble for the playoffs, as we now have 6 races remaining. And one of those is a road course, Watkins Glen, coming up in a couple of weeks, where SVG has another opportunity for good case playoff scenario for the rest of the contenders. So again, no major shakeups, but we are going to Dover next week, and there's a possibility there that we could get a new winner for the year to add to our playoff drama. So let's put a bow on this and give the race a thumbs up or thumbs down. All right, guys. Well, I wrestled with this one, honestly, throughout the race. I thought about whether I was going to give this a thumbs up or thumbs down. And honestly, the thought came about 3/4 of the way through stage 1 as my eyes started to droop. And I noticed myself starting to nod off. I actually had to get up and walk around the house for a little bit while the race was going on just to keep myself going. It was a lot of lap logging today. Stage 1 and stage 2, no natural cautions, nothing to slow things up. So they were just riding around. And the saving grace for the day, stage 3, yes, like I said, the aggression picked up, but it was TNT that made this a good race. So I'm going to give this a thumbs up. TNT was able to present the race as a whole to us and didn't make the same mistake that CW made yesterday during the Xfinity race and just follow SVG around all day long. They showed the rest of the field, and I really appreciated that and respected that, especially after facing such harsh criticisms. So kudos to TNT to really bring this race back around. And like I said, the aggression kicking up a notch in stage 3 definitely helped things. And those last couple of restarts, I don't think the bumper cars were too cringeworthy. And heck, seeing SVG win again is a plus in my book. I like the guy. I think he's a great addition to the NASCAR family. So a thumbs up is what I'm giving it. Let me know what you guys give this race in the comments below. Leave an emoji of a thumbs up or thumbs down and give me a reason or two as to what led you to that decision. I am keeping a running tally of this as the season goes on. And when we wrap things up in November, we'll let you know how things round out for the year. So thank you for contributing to the thumbs up or thumbs poll. All right, guys, before we call it quits for the night here, I do want to take a moment here and tell you about what I did for my spring rolls today. If you guys remember, on Thursday, I announced that I was going to do a shrimp spring roll. Well, on Saturday, when I went grocery shopping for all of my supplies, I looked at the shrimp that was available, did not like the appearance of them, nor did I like the price. So I decided to circle back and see what else was available. I didn't really see anything that caught my eye, but I did remember I had some pork cutlets still in the freezer, so I ended up going with that. Grabbed myself an orange bell pepper, and Julie ended up that nice and thin, and some tricolor slaw mix as part of my filling. With the pork cutlets, I marinated them in some soy sauce and some rice wine vinegar and a little bit of garlic and let that marinate for about an hour. After I pulled it out of the marinade, patted it dry, and got myself a nice hard sear on the griddle top. From there, I allowed the pork to rest completely and then cut it into strips and then put it into a spicy gochujang miso sauce. So that was my filling. The pork in the spicy miso, along with some orange bell peppers and the tricolor slaw. From there, I got the rice paper out and dipped that into some warm water, allowed that to soak for about 10 seconds per the instructions on the packet, pulled it out, let it drip dry real quick, put the stuffing in the center, and started my wrap. The key to the wraps with the rice paper is just to keep the motion all at once. Don't try to pull, don't try to lift, just get your roll going. Get the roll started, and get it over to enough to where it just keeps the shape of everything. Then you can fold in your sides and then finish your roll. It takes a little bit of practice if you're not really used to doing wraps or rolls like that, but it's not that difficult. With a couple of tries, I'm sure you guys will get it down as well. Finally, I paired up my spring rolls with a ponzu sauce. And I'll leave the recipe for that ponzu down below for you. But basically, it is a mix of soy sauce, brown sugar, orange juice, lemon juice, lime juice, some garlic, and some red pepper flake. And all of that gets mixed together in a pretty even quantity of each, and then is allowed to get happy overnight for a good 24 hours before it's ready to serve. The citrus that comes along with the ponzu sauce was a great balance to the spice that was coming off of the pork. Up next we have Dover, and I'll have a preview video for you guys on Thursday. I'm already thinking about food that is mid-Atlantic related, and it's probably going to involve some crab meat, considering I am a native of the mid-Atlantic region, Baltimorean, if you will. And we'll talk about that on Thursday. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can stay up to date with all of the latest episodes of Racin-n-Braisin. Until then, guys, I hope you all enjoyed today's race and had yourself a great weekend. I'll talk to you again. Stay happy.